Okay, so welcome back to the Mining Rig Spotlight series, and this is episode 4. And in this episode, I'm going to go over my CPU mining rig. For the CPU, I'm going to use the Ryzen 3900X to mine Monero. I'm also going to share the results dual mining with the CPU and GPU, and the GPU I'm going to use is the GTX 1660 Super mining Ethereum. So let's check out my parts, the hash rates, power draw, and profits. So thanks for tuning in. This is The Life of a Miner. Okay, so this is my CPU mining rig, and first let's go over the parts. Now the CPU I'm using is the Ryzen 9 3900X from AMD. The CPU cooler is the Noctua NHD15. And this motherboard is the B450M Steel Legend by ASRock. The storage I'm using is an M.2 Kingston 120GB SSD. And for the memory, I'm using two 3200 8GB CL14 RAM. And I do want to mention that your RAM timings do affect your hash rate significantly when mining Monero. The power supply is an EVGA 750W G3 power supply. And of course, this graphics card is the GTX 1660 Super. And it's all built on a Veta GPU mining frame. Okay, so now let's check out my overclocks. To overclock the CPU and change the memory timing, let's jump into the motherboard BIOS. So on the startup screen, keep smashing the delete key until you get into the BIOS. So for the CPU clock speed, I set it at 4100 MHz, and I set the voltage at 1.2. Now doing some advanced overclocking, I'm going to use the Dram Calculator to get the best timings for my RAM. And in order to check out what RAM to use for the Dram Calculator, I'm going to use Typhoon Burner. So in the BIOS going into the DRAM controls, I adjusted everything to the fast timings from the DRAM calculator. Now I did get all these figures from the DRAM calculator, so definitely check that out. Okay, so first I'm going to go over mining on the CPU only, and then next I'll go over dual mining with the CPU and GPU. So jumping into Windows, let's first pull up AMD Ryzen Master. Now AMD Ryzen Master is a great tool to monitor the CPU temperature and checking out the overclock settings. And as you can see, my CPU overclocks and the DRAM timings are set. Now the miner program I'm going to use to mine Monero is called XMRig version 5.6.0. Now running the miner, I should be technically averaging around 15,000 hashes, but I'm averaging around 14,930 hashes. Now the reason why is because I'm using Google Remote Desktop and remoting in. And because I'm remoting in, I'm losing a good amount of hash rates. But I'll show another clip after this showing the true hash rates. But I do want to mention that the visual is not too great because I'm recording a screen from a camera. But let's check this out. So now checking out the hash rates without remoting in but recording from a camera, I was averaging around 15,000 hashes. So let's check this out. Okay, so now checking out the power, my CPU mining rig idles around 41 watts. Now mining Monero, I was pulling around 221 watts, so the CPU itself was pulling around 180 watts. Okay, so now checking out the profits, I'm going to use the website What to Mine. Now be aware that the profits will change daily depending on the price and difficulty. So today is February 21st of 2020 and the price of Monero is about $80.74. So making some adjustments, I put the hash rate at 15,000 hashes and the power at 221 watts. Now the average power cost where I live is about 10 cents per kilowatt hours. So calculating, I would make around $1.19 before electricity and around 66 cents after electricity. Okay, so now let's check out dual mining. I'm going to mine Monero on the CPU and Ethereum on the GPU. The CPU I'm going to use is the Ryzen 3900X and the GPU is the GTX 1660 Super. Now pulling up AMD Ryzen Master, you can see that my CPU overclocks and the DRAM timings are set from before. Now to overclock the GPU, I'm going to use MSI Afterburner. So overclocking the GTX 1660 Super, I put the power limit at 65, the core at 0, and the memory at plus 900. And the miner program I'm going to be using is XMRig for the CPU and Claymore for the GPU. Now when dual mining, you do slightly lose some hash rates. I did lose about 50 hashes on my CPU, so now I was averaging around 14,950 hashes mining Monero. And on the GPU, I was getting around 30.6 mega hashes mining Ethereum. So let's check this out. Okay, so now let's check out the power dual mining. My CPU mining rig idles around 41 watts. Now dual mining, I was pulling around 296 watts. But when dual mining, I did lose some power mining Monero, so the CPU itself was now pulling around 160 watts. But the GPU was pulling around 95 watts. Now checking out the profits for dual mining, I'm going to use What to Mine. So today is February 21st of 2020 and the price of Monero is about $80.74 and the price of Ethereum is about $262.90. So starting with Ethereum, I put the mega hashes at 30.6. So calculating, I would be making around 62 cents a day before electricity. Now adjusting the hash rate for Monero, I put the hash rate at 14,950 hashes and the power at 296 watts. And the average power cost where I live is about 10 cents per kilowatt hour. So calculating, I would make about $1.19 before electricity and about 48 cents after electricity. But now let's add the 62 cents from dual mining. So I would technically be making about $1.81 a day before electricity and about $1.10 a day after electricity. Alright, so thanks for checking out my mining rig spotlight video of my CPU mining rig. And definitely check out my channel for other mining rig spotlight videos and stay tuned for more. Okay, so hope you enjoyed this video. Thumbs if you enjoyed it, sub if you're excited to see what's next. But of course, thanks for watching and always happy mining.